Listen. Can we talk? Let's talk about global warming because it's a hot topic, and I gotta admit, I'm concerned. I'm a little concerned. Let's take a trip back to the 1920s and come back to the present. The Earth has been heating up like a simmering pot, and let's go through the scientific research and get to the bottom of what the hell is happening. You want to talk about it? Let's get cryptic. Back in the 1920s, they were just dipping their toes into the whole global warming thing. Back then, they didn't even call it global warming. It was like a secret affair, not widely known or understood, I'm just saying. But hey, they were making some moves and strong strides that laid the groundwork for the future climate change research. In the 1920s, they were all about industrialization, and they were pumping out those fossil fuels like it was no tomorrow. Burning coal, chopping down trees, you name it, they were doing it. And guess what? All those activities were releasing a ton of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. It was like the earth was saying, Dad, y'all, can we cool it down? Then in 1927, a guy named Stuart Callender, a British engineer with some big ideas, came into the picture. He published a paper spilling all of the details on how burning fossil fuels was adding more carbon dioxide, or CO2, to the mix. And you know what CO2 does, and if you don't, I'm about to tell you. It traps heat. Like a cozy blanket, it traps heat. It makes the earth hotter, and it was like the planet was going through a heat wave, and it was not the cute kind at all. Callender's research was like a light bulb moment, one of the first to suggest that the human activities can be messing with the climate. But not everyone was sold on the idea. Some folks were like, nah, this crap ain't true. We don't know what you're talking about. It took decades for the whole concept of anthropogenic global warming to get its moment in the spotlight. But you know what? The 1920s set the stage of what was to come, and it was like the opening act of a big show. From there, scientists kept digging deeper using fancy technology and getting to the bottom of global warming. As the years passed, they pieced together the puzzle, and now we've got a much clearer picture of how human activities are heating things up. Now, with all that being said, let's fast forward to what was going on in the 1950s through the 1970s, as this was a turning point in the global warming saga. It was like the plot hit thicken, and scientists was raising those alarm bells like nobody's business. During those decades, the Earth's temperature was getting even more attention, and it was getting even more hotter than a celebrity scandal. I'm just saying. Researchers noticed some unusual patterns, like the Earth was feeling a bit feverish, and it was over the entire situation. You see, human activities were still going full steam ahead, churning all those greenhouse gases like there was no tomorrow. Burning fossil fuels, deforestation. It was like a party with a lot of heat. And all those gases were trapping heat in the atmosphere, making the earth warmer and warmer than ever. Scientists were digging into the data like detectives, and they were like, hold up, something's going on here. Extreme weather events were on the rise, and it was like the earth was throwing a tantrum. Hurricanes, droughts, it was like a roller coaster of weather mayhem. It was so much going on. But wait, it gets even juicier, because then in the 1960s, the term global warming started hitting the headlines like a wildfire. It was like a brand new name for the same old heat wave. The word was spreading, and people were just starting to take notice of the climate change drama. By the 1970s, everyone was talking about global warming, and it was like the hottest gossip in town. Scientists were studying the Earth's climate like it was a never-ending mystery, and they were getting more and more evidence that human activities were the culprits, and that human activities were the ones heating things up like it was a hot plate. But you know what? Despite all of the evidence, there was some skeptics in the mix, and it was like a real-life soap opera. Some folks were saying, nah, it can't be us. We ain't the ones doing it. We ain't got nothing to do with the heat. But the scientific community stood strong, and they stood deep in their convictions, and they were united at the front, and they kept pushing for action. Then in the 1980s, scientists were like, listen, we got some serious climate change to tell y'all, and it needs to go down now. They were busy studying the Earth's atmosphere, studying the Earth's temperature like it was the latest fashion trend. And guess what? The evidence was piling up like a mountain of receipts. One scientist made a lot of noise. His name was James Hansen. He was like a climate change superstar. In 1988, he testified before Congress spilling all the tea. He was like, yo, global warming is real. It's caused by human activities, and we need to do something about it. It was like a mic drop moment, and people started paying attention like never before. But you know what? The 1980s were like a battleground of opinion. Some folks were still saying, nah, it's just a natural cycle. And it was like a real life soap opera with skeptics and believers going at it. Then comes the 1990s, and global warming was still in the spotlight. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, or IPCC, was like the ultimate team of experts studying climate change like it was their full-time job. They were dropping reports left and right, saying, hey y'all, it's getting even hot out here, we need to do something. In 1997, they held the Kyoto Protocol. It's like a climate change summit. It was like all of the countries coming together for a serious talk. They said, all right, listen, we need to cut those greenhouse gas emissions or else it's just going down. And they were serious about it. But then some big players like the United States were giving side eye to the whole situation like, It was like a tug of war over who's responsible for the heat. But despite the drama, global warming was getting more and more attention. It was getting more attention to the red carpet event, just saying. People were finally waking up to the reality that the earth was heating up like a hot stove, and we needed to act fast because soon came the early 2000s. The 2000s where global warming drama was still sizzling like a hot summer day. In the early 2000s, scientists were still digging into the data like detectives, and they were like, you know what, hold up, what's going on with this global warming situation? It truly was like a puzzle they couldn't solve. One scientist, though, was making waves. His name was Michael Mann. Him and his team studied those temperatures, and they came up with the famous hockey stick graph. It was like a fashion statement showing how global temperatures were shooting up like a rocket. But you know what? The skeptics were still in the mix, and like a constant buzzkill at the party. They were saying, nah, it's natural. It's just natural fluctuation. It was like a never-ending battle of opinions with everyone trying to make their point heard. As the years went by, the drama kept unfolding. Extreme weather events were happening left and right. It was like a real-life soap opera. I'm trying to tell you. Hurricanes, heat waves, wildfires. They were like villains in this climate change saga, wreaking havoc like nobody's business. Then in 2015 comes the Paris Agreement, like a big climate change showdown. It was like all of the countries holding hands and saying, all right, we've got to do something about this global warming crap. They set targets to cut those greenhouse gas emissions and save the planet from the heat wave it was facing. But wait, there is more, because in 2017, there was a plot twist to the plot twist. The United States was under the leadership of Donald Trump, and he was like, I'm out of this Paris Agreement party. I ain't got nothing to do with it. This is all bogus. It was like a bombshell, leaving everyone shocked and worried about the future. As we step into the present, scientists are working harder than ever to uncover the truth about climate change. One of the key players in this game is Katharine Hayhoe. Go girl. She's all about studying the impacts of global warming, and she's not afraid to spill the tea on how it's affecting our planet. Extreme weather events are still making headlines, like your favorite artist beefing. Hurricanes, heat waves, and wildfires are like the villains causing chaos all over the world. It's like a never-ending drama, and it's time we pay attention. I'm certainly paying attention because ice caps are melting like an ice cream cone under the sun. And it's like a disaster in slow motion, and it's causing sea levels to rise like a tidal wave. Now here's the good news, because we do got some good news. Scientists are not just giving up. And they're not just giving us bad news. They're also showing us a way out of this mess. They're like the problem solvers, and we need them right now. They're developing clean energy solutions like solar and wind power, so we can cut these greenhouse gas emissions like a boss. Speaking of bosses, Greta Thunberg, if you don't know who she is, let me tell you about this climate change princess. She's standing up to the world leaders like, listen, y'all ain't about nothing. It's time to save the planet, and people tired of the BS. She's like a force of nature, and she's inspiring millions and millions of people around the world to join the fight against global warming, including myself. So with all of that being said, global warming is still a big deal, and we need to act as if our lives depend on it, because guess what? It do. Scientists like Katharine Hayhoe and activists like Greta, they're leading the way, and it's time for all of us to step up. Not just step up, it's time for us to step up and do our part. It's like a real life drama, and we're all in this together, fighting for the future of our precious planet. Now that's all I got for y'all today. Be sure to like this video, share if you can, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and let's keep this conversation going in the comments about global warming, because I am really curious to see what you all have to say about this. And I'll see you next time. Peace.